Thank you. Since the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad in 1869, most U.S. presidents have visited Utah.
But Bob, it took a long time for presidential spouses to get any attention. Fox 13's Max Roth joins us with a look at how first ladies used to be noticed or ignored on their trips to Utah. Max, you got to explain this.
You know what? And it's the latter was more common, Kelly. You know, combing through the Utah Division of State History newspaper archives, I learned that it was Julia Grant, the wife of Ulysses, who was the first current sitting First Lady to come to Utah. It was in October of 1875. She even entertained Brigham Young on the train between Ogden and Salt Lake.
Julia Grant shows up in this article, though never by full name. It was Sunday, March 3rd, 1875. Julia Grant was on the train with the president and with Brigham Young. The article says Brigham held a few minutes conversation with Mrs. Grant and then retired. 5 years later, September of 1880, Lucy Hayes came to Salt Lake with her husband, President Rutherford B. Hayes. The newspaper saying Mrs. President Hayes was presented to the assembly and bowed acknowledgments to the three hearty cheers that greeted the lady. The article also calling her Hayes' estimable wife. Now we get to something of a Utah First Lady curse. In May of 1891, Carolyn Harrison visited Utah with her husband Benjamin. They went to Provo, the paper saying he was the first president to visit Provo, Utah's garden city. Quite an honor for President Harrison, it said. Mrs. Harrison was frequently called for but did not make an appearance, it also said. Apparently she was quite ill. She would die just over a year later. In May of 1901, William McKinley sped through Utah on the fastest train he could find to get his ill wife, Ida, home to Ohio. The article saying Mrs. McKinley much improved, but she never made an appearance. She would, though, live another 6 years. Her husband would be shot and killed by an assassin in just 3.5 months. It's Florence Harding, Warren Harding's wife, who actually got a tiny bit of attention for what she had to say, most notably in southern Utah. It's June 1923, and at Zion Canyon, the Iron County Record says Mrs. Harding also spoke a few minutes and expressed her pleasure in being in this part of the world and meeting with such warm-hearted and industrious people. And the Washington County News included some stories of her interactions. For example, shaking hands with girls who had just sung to her. A man asked who she was, and she said, "I'm Mrs. Harding," and went on shaking hands.
You know, and we're lucky that presidents and first ladies have continued to visit, because it was just about 2 months after that President Harding died, and just a year later that his wife did. Florence Harding died. You know, I was looking through more than half a century of these archives, and in all of those articles, I did not see one mention of a first lady's first name. They were always Mrs. and then their husband's name. So things, I think, have changed for the better in that way. Live in studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.